it's Tina from Artisan Savant. It's been a while since I've done a making video, so I figured it was about time that I put one up on my channel. It's not going to be soap today. We are going to be making an emulsified foot scrub. So it's very much identical to the emulsified sugar scrubs, but rather than being for your body, this one is specially formulated for your feet. Now, this is not a recipe I sell, this is just my personal recipe for my business. But I will go through the ingredients that I am using today. We've obviously got some emulsifying wax, some beeswax, some stearic acid. I've got my soft oils here, which are rice bran and apricot. I have my essential oils and my preservative in here. So the essential oils I'm using today are peppermint and tea tree. And then I've got some of my larger sugar. I'll get more to that later. And then I've got my sugar over here behind me. Now the first thing I'm going to do is take all my hard waxes, or acids and waxes, and melt them down until they are fluid. This can take a couple of minutes, mainly because of the beeswax, because it's big and chunky, but it's just the way I do it when I melt it. When I form it. And then of course the stearic acid doesn't take long. But they all seem to melt at about the same time together. So usually it takes me about, let's say 4 to 5 minutes max. Let's pop that in there and get that going. I'm going to start doing it in 2-minute intervals though. So I'll do it for 2 minutes, and then after 2 minutes it's not done, and I think it needs another full 2 minutes, I'll do another full 2 minutes, and if it doesn't need that long, I will act accordingly. Be back shortly. Okay, so this has melted for exactly 4 minutes. You can see there's still lumps of beeswax in there. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to stir that, because the residual heat in this will actually melt those down. So I'll just stir it, and then I will add this to my soft oil. I'll just show you what happens when I add those two together. So I'm just stirring this to make sure that beeswax all melts. And this is local beeswax. We get this from Kalgoorlie, which is, when I say how far away it is, it sounds like it's not local, but for us, this is the next town. So it's 55 k's away. We're in Kambalda here, and our next major town is Kalgoorlie. So yeah, just a nice little Sunday drive to go anywhere other than our local supermarket if we need anything. So as you can see, that residual heat melted this all down nicely. I hope you can see that. Let me zoom in. So now what I'm going to do is, this is our soft oil, so this was our rice bran and our apricot kernel oil. I'm going to add this in, and you will see this will actually thicken back up, and it goes, I don't know how to describe it, I'm just going to do it. Just watch. There you go. So that's it there. I'll just scrape what I can out of here, because it is all weighed to the gram, so I don't want to waste any. So because this has happened, it's gone all chunky, I am just going to pop it back in the microwave and give it maybe 20 seconds, just enough to make it fluid again and not so chunky, because I don't want it going into the sugar like this, or it's going to have lumps of waxes that haven't quite mixed together. So I'm just going to scrape this down to make sure we get all that in there and pop it back in the microwave, and we'll come back in a sec. Okay, so as you can see, our oil mix is completely fluid. There's no lumpy bits in there from the waxes that solidified as we put those hot waxes into the cool oils. They are now warm to the touch. I'm just going to stick that aside for a second. I'm going to put some colour into our sugar here. This is just plain white sugar, nothing fancy. The same stuff you put in your coffee, I guess. Just a little bit of colour. I don't want it over coloured. I'm going to just do that for now. And then once I add all the liquids, see how it looks. Then I'm just going to pour our oils and waxes in, bit at a time. So I'll do this, get a majority in. don't know if you can see that like shimmery effect through that oil. It looks really cool. Generally, I can't see what you guys can see on camera, even though I have a screen. To me, it doesn't look like you can see it, and then I watch it back in the video and I'm like, oh, actually you could see that. So I'll just assume you guys at this point can see it. Alright, so we've got all of our sugar lifted from the base. So we'll add the rest of that in now. I'm going to make sure I've got no dry patches at the bottom. Now, this isn't the only sugar I'm putting in. As I showed you before when I was going through the ingredients, I do have a coarser sugar here. Now, I don't know where you're watching, but I'm in Australia and we have a company called CSR. It's like the biggest sugar company, I think, in Australia. And they produce a product called coffee sugar. It has no coffee in it. It's pure like sugar, cane sugar. But it's like, I guess, similar, or probably the same, just bigger, like Demerara sugar. And that's what I'm going to add in here, because I find with a body scrub you need the fine sugar, whereas with a foot scrub you like it a bit scrubbier. So I'm just going to add in some of this Demerara sugar. You can see it's quite chunky compared to regular sugar. So I'm going to put that in. I'm only going to put half in for now. See how it's looking. I've still got some more of that oil mix to grab it to put into, because I don't want it to, I don't want to have too much rough sugar in there. I just want it a nice balance, I guess. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Now, I am going to add in, now remember this is our peppermint, our tea tree, and it also has our preservative in it. I'm just going to add this in. Now, when I use essential oils in this, I use minimal. So this is actually only at 1% because peppermint is a really strong essential oil. And it tends to have a cooling effect on the skin, even in this. Which is partly why I use it. Because it's so nice if you've had a really long day and you've been on your feet all day, just to come home and this and the I think I've made them before, the foot fizzies that I now do as a foot fizzy powder. It's the same essential oil blend, but it's so nice on your feet and you've been doing markets or just working in the shop all day. Okay, I like that green better. I'm gonna put some poppy seeds in it. So I've just got some poppy seeds here and a shaker. Okay, it looks like a lot, promise you it's not. Just a very light sprinkling on the surface, and then I'll mix that in. I've got, this one I haven't cleaned yet, but this one is just one that was sitting on the shelf. So they go in these black pots now. I used to do them in like a clear, I don't think I've got one in front of me. It was basically a clear container like this, but in 100 gram size. But I've decided I really, really like these like lush type pots. They're really cute. I use them for my body butters or my butter pots. And I think they're just going to look really awesome with my scrubs. So, especially when you look at the contrast of the colours. So, that's what we're going to be using this time. So I'm going to set this aside, get my containers all ready, sanitized, etc. And then we'll start filling. Back in a minute. Okay, so all our little black pots are now have been checked for any dust. They're nice and clean and shiny on the inside. Oh, there's my carrots. They're nice and clean and shiny. You can still see the alcohol just drying off for a second. Alright, let's get these in the jar. Pop this to the side. Now, I'm going to just turn my scales out. There you go. Where are we? So these are our foot scrubs. Now this one's just been poured, obviously. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these. And I'll bring you back shortly. Okay, so I have potted these all up. All I'm going to do now is weigh them again. Even though I weighed them out as I did them, I like to double check, just in case I took it off too quick or I didn't do something. I've just tidied up the edges. I'm just going to throw them through, well, not through, but place them upon the scales, weigh them again to make sure they're all the correct weight. That one's good. They need to be 120, so perfect. Let's bring it back in frame. Oops, it was in frame, wasn't it? Alright, let's pick this one that's a bit more set up than the others. Probably this one. Oh, where are we? So I've got a glove, but I am going to shove my finger in there. So, as you can see, it's kind of just like that kind of texture. I can hold that, I can't show you holding it. I can hold it upside down, it's not going to fall out. And it holds its shape really well. So I'm just going to push that back in there, smooth it back down. I had it nice and smooth. And these will actually get firmer than that. And that's why I think I really, really like this kind of texture in my sugar scrubs. Because you don't have to use as much, it's not goopy. And it's just nice. So, there you go. So this is our peppermint and tea tree emulsified foot scrubs. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave them below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed. Turn that notifications bell on to make sure you get notified every time I upload a video. And I shall see you next time. Have a great day.